What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So I'm still trying to wrap my thoughts around that finale. There's a lot to talk about. I'm going to give you guys my rating for this episode like always. Do a quick recap of the episode. Mostly talk about things I liked, maybe some things I disliked. It gives my rating. Then we're going to talk about Season 2 overall. So I'm going to talk about what I thought of Season 2. I think it was better than Season 1, my rating for it. So before we go into it, please make sure you like this video if you guys have been enjoying it. Please make sure to subscribe if you are new. But let's take a look at Season 2, Episode 8. So episode 8 is titled, All My Life, My Heart Has Yearned for Something That I Cannot Name. And the episode begins where I think a lot of us wanted to see the most. We started with Fez, and we're going to find out what happens between him and Ashtray and Faye and the boyfriend. And so in the beginning, Faye lets him know that the boyfriend is wired in some way. It turns out that he's not wired like how I thought, but his phone is wired, so the police was listening on the conversation. So right away, the episode starts out with a bang as we see Ash kill the boyfriend. He straight up gets a knife and puts it right into his neck. We hear him like choking on the blood. This was like a brutal scene to watch. Actually hearing him like gargle on his own blood, like pretty brutal stuff. We then see Fez take the phone and put it in, I think it was like a 7-Eleven cup, right? From here on out, we see like a montage of the relationship between Fez and Lexi leading up to this moment. I thought this was beautiful. I thought the music was like this romantic, sort of like Italian like composition, like dramatic sort of thing. I thought it was so well done. The music for this whole episode was on a different level. I adored it. It wasn't like your typical soundtrack. I don't even know if there was that much of a soundtrack, but the actual score was amazing. It was so good. And there's so many different styles here, but I love the romantic style used for this moment to depict the relationship between Fez and Lexi. After this, we cut back to Fez, and we just see like that look on his face. Like he was just thinking about all the moments between Fez, with himself and Lexi. Now he can't go to the play, like he knows that. I mean, they just murdered someone, right? And I thought it just made that scene much more powerful to actually show Fez and Lexi like those scenes instead of just seeing Fez like stand over the sink. It added a lot more to show like those previous scenes. We then cut back to the play where we see Cassie about to storm the stage, right? There's another moment where I thought the score was great. It was a little bit different here. Instead, it wasn't that romantic style, obviously. It was a lot more dramatic. Sort of reminds me of an Alfred Hitchcock film. Like this like dramatic thing is about to happen. Again, just another example of how great the music was. And, Cassie walking up to the stage. It ends up leading to this really dramatic, all-out, sort of, not goofy, but like just insane events that happen now on stage. We see Cassie bring out Lexi, she gets mad at Lexi, the mom comes on the stage, all three of them start to argue. Then see Maddie go after Cassie, like circus music starts to go around as we see that like just chaos starts to ensue on the stage. This whole thing was pretty funny, it's pretty entertaining, I enjoyed it made me laugh out loud. After this, we get the scene where Rue goes to Elliot to apologize. And now, this was a very drawn-out scene. Maybe some may think this wasn't important. But I have to say, this might have been like one of my favorite scenes of the whole episode. Elliot, the actual actor, I know he's a real singer in real life. I actually didn't know that until somewhat recently. He has a great voice. But why I like this scene so much is that the song that he sings, the words, are actually like really good. Like, it was an actual really good song. And Rue's acting, Zendaya's acting of the character of Rue was so good. You could see like, she was thinking about her own life, how the song relates to her. Us as the audience maybe thought something like that as well. And I just loved it so much because, yes, it was long, but like I said, the song was good. The guy Elliot, the actor, I forgot his real name, he has got a great voice. Rue's acting was great. And I actually wouldn't have even minded if the scene went on for even longer. I was having such a great time actually listening to it, enjoying what I saw. So yes, a slow scene, but I actually enjoyed it a lot. We then get a quick, nice moment where Lexi goes on stage after all the chaos stops, after like Maddie chases Cassie away, right? And she dedicates this next part to Fez. I thought it was such a sweet moment that even though she might be a little bit upset with Fez for not showing up, she still likes him a lot, So she's dedicating this part to him. I thought it was sweet. But then we go back to Fez and what he's dealing with now, and that stuff is about to just like hit the fan soon. See that Fez decides that he's going to take the fall for this murder. He's not going to let Ash go to jail for what he's done. This was his little brother. He's trying to look out for him. But as we see is that Ash has other plans. He doesn't even plan on going to jail. He gets some guns. He goes into the bathroom. Fez is trying to talk some sense into him, but Ash even like hits the back of the gun into Fez's face, locks himself in the door, and Fez has no choice but to try to convince Ash to come out of the room. While this is going on, we also catch up with Nate as we first see him loading up a gun. Then we see him go to his father Cal's place of work where he's currently living. Cal's hanging out with some friends. Nate goes to talk to him. The friends leave. Nate talks about how the tapes affected him, the tapes that he watched when he was a kid of Cal, and we all know what he did there. He talks about the nightmares that he has. Then he pulls the gun on Cal, Turns out that Nate called the cops and he's turning his father in, right? This whole interaction, along with what we just saw with Fez and Ash, this whole sequence is probably like my favorite part of the whole show. This is where I was really sitting up. I was locked in. This is where I felt the most, compelled by what I was watching. Was probably these two scenes here, and it makes sense. It was the most exciting. We had guns. We had, Nate confronting his father. A lot of storylines that were about to be wrapped up. Like this was the climax of a lot of what the season was building up to. And right after this, we go back to Fez. We see the cops barge into the place. They flashbang the whole place like the SWAT team come in. Fez is able to drop the knife. Fez is like on the floor. Ash just starts shooting. He actually hits Fez, which is pretty crazy. And, there's a couple of scenes where they're shooting back and forth, and one of the cops goes in. Ash is pretending to play dead. He gets up. He shotguns the cop. He kills the cop, and then the other cops have to kill him, and Ash dies, right in front of Fez's face, which is brutal for Fez. Fez, I guess, is going to... I don't know if he's going to go to jail now or not. Like, it depends what they have on Fez. Maybe like an accomplice to murder. That's probably what he's going to get, maybe. So we'll probably see Fez, at least for one season, I guess, in jail. Maybe we'll get some cool jail scenes with Fez. That could be interesting. After this, we also get to see Rue's speech again for her father, for her father's memorial. We've seen a couple scenes like this again. Again, the music was great here. I just remember it being really good here. We also get to see Rue call up Lexi, and ask to come over, and, she goes over. She appreciates the play, and, and while they're talking, this just made me realize that this show is really just character studies of everyone. There's nothing too crazy going on for like the whole season. Obviously, this episode had a couple of crazy things, especially with Fez and Nate. But just seeing Rue and Lexi talk, it just made me realize that the writing for this show is so good. And it's acted and directed and made so well that it just creates this compelling experience. Like, even just seeing Rue and Lexi talk for a drawn out scene, like the scene was drawn out, it still created this compelling experience because the elements are just so good. And that's sort of why I still stand by the fact that I do think this is one of the greatest shows ever made, just because they're not even doing too much with this show. It's not crazy like all these other shows that have these crazy storylines going on. There's nothing too crazy going on here. It's your typical relationship stuff, a couple things involving the cops, like criminal activities, but really that's it. There's no really, giant storyline that's going on besides these characters that are just somehow connected, right? So I think, like I said, it's good in the show, but let's continue. At the end, to wrap things up, we see Cassie and Maddie sort of like beaten up in the bathroom. Nate broke up with Cassie. That's what Cassie said, and Maddie says that this is just the beginning. We'll see in season 3 probably what their relationship is in season 3. I feel like they'll probably make up now that they're both got their hearts broken by Nate. We all see Jules go over to Rue. Rue sort of gives Jules like a goodbye kiss. That's how I saw it. She kissed him on the forehead. I just thought it was like a goodbye kiss. Like it's not like I'll see you soon, I'll miss you, like maybe we'll work things out. I think that was sort of like the last, icing on the cake for their relationship. And then the last shot was sort of like the polar opposite of season 1 finales. It was like Rue walking away, sort of talking about like her journey with how she's going to start sobriety. She doesn't know what's in store for her, but she hopes it works out. A very somber finale, very slow, sort of darker, dragging out finale. Unlike season 1's where I had the people dancing, she left Jules, she got back on drugs. It was like this wow thing. Well, this is, like I said, like the complete opposite. Like she's going to stay sober, hopefully, at least at this part of the show. And that's pretty much it. So this is my rating for this episode. So this is a 5 out of 5 for me. I do think this is perfect. I'm going to tell you why. So there's a couple of things that play into this. One, I always include, the acting, how well made it is. The music really did a lot for me. But I think just for the first 45 minutes, it was sort of nonstop excitement for me. Ash killing Faye's boyfriend, everything going on there with Fez. Cassie storming the stage, I thought that was really funny. Everything with Nate and Cal, again, like this, everything with Fez and Ash was really good. And it does add a lot to the episode. I think Rue could have used a little bit more. She does get her time at the end. But I did want like a little bit more Rue here, maybe focus more on her story. But overall, like I do think this was really, really great. I do see some people saying it wasn't that good. And I get it, I guess. I don't know. I thought it was really, really, really good. I really do honestly think that. My only quarrel is that, like I said, I do think the ending dragged for a little bit. I did want something like the season 1's ending. This one wasn't very like euphoric. Like season 1's ending, I felt like euphoric. Like it was something that was like so different, just had me like really locked in. While for these final moments, it was like excitement, and then like it dragged. It did drag for me. It was just like wrapping things up, and then it ended with Rue walking out. And I could see how some would be like, that's it. Like, we don't get to see any more. Like, blah, 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 blah. Didn't end in a cliffhanger. I get that. I really do. But I do think it was like a fitting end to this season. And it was good for the character, right? She's starting her sobriety journey. We still have a season 3, so I'm still excited for season 3. And I hope that we do get some more special episodes like how season 1 did. Because I think it does sort of like wrap up the whole season very nicely, those special episodes. So I do hope that we get that. But now my quick thoughts on season 2 overall. So I do think that this season of Euphoria overall was another phenomenal season. I had a lot of fun with it. There were some episodes I don't think were on the same tier as some of the other episodes, but there was never a bad one, I'd say. And it really progressed the characters a lot. Especially, we got a lot more on everyone. That's one thing about the show is that everyone sort of gets equal time, except for Kat. I mean, Kat really took a step back in this episode. I mean, there's a lot to talk about with her. Some of the behind-the-scenes stuff, like how she wasn't comfortable doing some things that the director maybe wanted to happen, so those scenes were cut out. And maybe, one scene was important, so they had to cut out a couple others because they needed that one scene. Who knows? But she took a sort of step back. But I mean, I think Maddie got some more screen time. Cassie became a huge character here. Nate, Cal, Rue took a little bit of a step back. Same with Jules. I think their whole story wasn't like too much in the forefront of this season. I think a lot of it was Nate and Cassie. This was a lot of their season in a couple of ways, and Lexi too. The back half was definitely filled with Lexi, which I love. I think she's a great character, and I'm excited to see like what happens now with her and Fez. I feel it's probably going to maybe dwindle out. We'll see what happens there. But my overall rating for season 2 is a 4.7 out of 5. I'm torn on if I would round it up to a 5 out of 5 or a 4.5. My apps that I rate stuff on, you can only do like 5-star rating or 4.5. I don't know if I'm going to give like a 5 or a 4.5 yet. I do think season 1 was better in my opinion. Maybe just because it was so new and I was so taken aback by like the beauty of the show. And I do think there was more, I guess euphoric is the word, like compelling scenes in season 1 where it was like, I was like in a trance. Like I was like hypnotized by what was going on in the scenes. And I don't think season 2 had as many moments like that as season 1 did. Like season 1 had some moments where I was like, just like lost in the beauty of the show. And season 2, I think, had a more entertaining sort of comedic feel to it, especially with like Cassie and Nate. Maybe it was just because Rue wasn't on like as many drugs for the season. Like she was trying to get off, and maybe in season 1, like she was always high, and that's what created like that euphoric feeling. So maybe like that's why we didn't get as many scenes like that in season 2. But I don't know. Like I think season 1 may have been a little bit better. Like when I'm talking about better, I'm talking about like by an inch maybe. Like it was just a little bit better. I do think season 2 is great. This would definitely be like one of my top shows of the year. Maybe even it'll probably even hit number 1 if I'm being honest. 4.7 is a very high rating for me. And this episode, this last one, almost broke my scale. I mean, halfway through I was literally sitting there, I'm like, this is gonna hit like over a 5 out of 5 for me. It was gone that trajectory of where it was going to be that good. I think towards the end, it could have been a little bit more exciting at the end. But honestly, the whole episode had a crazy amount of tension and excitement to really fill up a whole entire season of another show. So that is just my thoughts on this episode and the season overall. Let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. Were you guys disappointed by this episode? Were you hoping for a little bit more? Or were you completely blown away by everything with Fez and Ash and everything else? So did you guys love it? Did you think it was perfect? Do you think it could have been a little bit better? And let me know in season 2, what do you guys think overall? Would you think season 1 was better? Or do you think season 2 was better? So if you guys enjoyed this video, please make sure to like it. Please subscribe if you're new, but I will see you all in the next video. Have a great rest of the day.